There is a tunnel on the moon, and something is moving inside it. 3 weeks ago, I confirmed what NASA has been hiding since the Artemis 3rd mission went silent. The official story is equipment failure, communications lost, crew presumed dead. But I was on the monitoring team at Johnson Space Center when Commander Price's final transmission came through, and what I heard in those 47 seconds wasn't the sound of dying astronauts. It was the sound of people realizing they'd found something that should never have been found. Lights are ascending from inside that tunnel right now. Not exploration lights, not reflections, something else. And every hour the tunnel grows wider. I need to say this before they find me, before the signal goes dark. The anomaly was first detected by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter in 2024, catalogued as Mare Formation LQ7, a shadow irregularity on the eastern rim of Shackleton Crater. The official designation made it sound geological, unremarkable, but the imaging data told a different story. The shadow never changed position despite the sun's movement. It absorbed light completely. No scatter, no reflection, just a perfect circle of absence measuring exactly 847 meters in diameter. When they ran the depth scans, the equipment gave readings that made no sense. The pit didn't bottom out. Every pass suggested it went deeper than the previous measurement, as if the tunnel was actively growing downward. Artemis 3 was supposed to confirm the formation was natural, collect samples, move on. Commander Jessica Price, pilot Mark Chen, and geologist Dr. Sarah Okonkwo set down their lander 2 kilometers from the site on October 14th. For the first 6 hours, everything proceeded normally. Then Price reported they'd reached the edge of the pit and were preparing to lower the fiber optic camera probe. Her voice on the recording is calm, professional. "Houston, we have visual confirmation of the formation. The edges are smooth, almost machined. No debris field, no ejecta pattern. This wasn't created by impact." There's a pause, and I can hear Chen in the background running spectrometer readings. "Houston, we're getting some unusual electromagnetic readings here. The field strength is oscillating in a regular pattern. Frequency appears to be, wait, that can't be right. It's cycling through prime numbers." That was the first indication something was fundamentally wrong. Natural phenomena don't count. The universe doesn't do mathematics deliberately, but the data was there, logged, verified. The electromagnetic pulses were emerging from the tunnel at intervals corresponding to prime numbers. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7, 11, 13. An artificial beacon, or perhaps a warning. Against protocol, Price made the decision to lower herself into the pit on a tether line. The last thermal scan showed her descending past 50 meters when her vitals began to spike. Heart rate 160. Respiration rapid and irregular. Core temperature dropping. "It's bigger than we thought," she reported, her voice now carrying a strange echo. "The walls. Houston, the walls aren't rock, they're moving. There's a texture almost like scales, but geometric, tiling patterns that shift when I'm not looking directly at them. The tunnel isn't going down, it's going somewhere else." Chen's panicked voice cut in. "Jessica, your tether is slack. You should be at 70 meters of extension, but the depth gauge shows 30. Something's wrong with the spatial measurements." "I can see light below me," Price continued. "Not reflected light, it's coming from inside the tunnel. Blue-white like arc welding, but it doesn't hurt to look at. It's passing through me. I can see it moving through my hands, through the bones, through the suit. I'm translucent. Houston, I can see through myself." That was 22 minutes into the descent. The next transmission was 6 minutes later, but Price's voice had changed. The tone was flatter, devoid of affect. "There are structures here, corridors branching in directions that shouldn't exist. I'm counting angles that aren't possible in 3-dimensional space. There are right angles that measure 115 degrees, parallel lines that intersect. Gravity is negotiable. I'm standing on the wall, but it feels like the floor. There are markings on the surfaces, not writing, instructions maybe, diagrams showing how space can be folded, how corners can be turned inside out. Dr. Okonkwo tried to pull her back using the motorized winch. The tether went taut, then slack. When they reeled it in, the end was severed cleanly, the carbon fiber cable cut with such precision that the cross-section showed individual molecular filaments separated without fraying. Price was gone. Chen made the decision to go after her. "Houston, I'm going down. I can see movement in the tunnel. Lights, but they're not moving like lights should. They're moving in stutters, like frames being skipped in a film. And I can hear something, a sound too low for human hearing, but I can feel it in my chest, in my bones. It feels like recognition." He descended faster than Price had, ignoring safety protocols. At 40 meters, his video feed showed the tunnel walls covered in luminescent growth, something that looked like circuitry etched in living metal, pulsing with that same blue-white light. The patterns were recursive, self-similar at every scale, fractals that induced vertigo just looking at them on a screen. "I found her," Chen reported. "She's standing in a junction. There are 12 corridors leading away from this chamber, but I can only see 4 of them at a time. When I turn my head, different corridors become visible and others disappear. Jessica's eyes are open, but she's not responding. She's facing a wall that has something carved into it. Not carved, growing. The symbols are being written in real time by the wall itself." Okonkwo made a final plea. "Mark, get her and come back. That's a direct order." "Sarah," he said, and his voice had that same flat quality. "I don't think we were ever supposed to leave. This isn't a tunnel, it's an entrance. And it doesn't lead down into the moon, it leads into something vast. I can see it now. The corridors extend in every direction, more than 3, more than 4. They branch into dimensions we don't have names for. This is a labyrinth, but the walls aren't barriers, they're instructions. Every surface is teaching me how to navigate impossible spaces." The transmission ended with Okonkwo screaming for them both to respond, then silence. 3 hours later, her final message came through. "Houston, they came back." Commander Price and Chen just walked out of the tunnel, but they're not alone. There are others with them. I don't know what they are, but they're wearing the shapes of people like uncomfortable clothes. They're walking toward the lander in perfect synchronization, their movements identical down to the millisecond. And behind them, more are emerging, dozens. And Jessica is smiling at me, but her smile is wrong. It's too wide, too symmetrical. She says the labyrinth is infinite, but also singular, a space that contains all possible spaces. She says they've been chosen to be the first to carry the knowledge back. But Houston, I'm looking at the suit telemetry, and none of them have heartbeats anymore. That was the last transmission. The lander never returned. And every orbital pass over Mare Formation LQ7 shows the same thing. Lights moving inside the tunnel, ascending slowly, methodically, coming up from impossible depths. I accessed the classified archives last week. My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez. They'll use it to discredit me soon enough. There have been 17 unmanned probes sent into the tunnel since Artemis 3. None have returned data, but 3 days ago we received a transmission on the emergency frequency. It was Commander Price's voice, crystal clear. "We are returning. We have learned the architecture. We are bringing it home. The labyrinth doesn't end. It grows. Soon every dark place will be a door. Every corner will turn further than 90 degrees. Every shadow will be deep enough to descend into. We are the first, but you will all follow." They've quarantined the entire Mare Formation region. No missions, no imaging. Official silence. But I've seen the internal reports. The tunnel is expanding. It's now 1,200 meters in diameter and growing at an accelerating rate. And 3 days ago, observers detected a new shadow on the moon. On the far side, same characteristics, same electromagnetic signature, same prime number sequence. I'm uploading this to every server I can access before they lock me out. Sometimes I see corners in my apartment that I don't remember being there. Sometimes I count the angles and they don't add up to 360. Sometimes I hear that subsonic frequency and I feel it resonating in my sternum like a tuning fork, finding its matching pitch. Whatever the labyrinth is, it's active now and it's waking up. The astronauts didn't die in there. They transformed. They became something capable of navigating impossible geometries, and now they're teaching others. When you look at the moon tonight, know that there are doorways opening on its surface, passages leading into a structure older and vaster than human civilization, and something in those corridors is making its way up. The geometry is patient, the geometry is correct, and the geometry is coming.